zero waste is a lifestyle, a philosophy, and a design principle that aims to prevent waste from being created in the first place. Each of us, are we giving out 1 kilogram of waste in a day into the municipal box outside our homes, or 500 grams? How much less garbage is getting created from our homes? Prevent waste from being created in the first place, not just manage it after it's made. The 5 R's: refuse, say no to things we don't need. Today with Instagram, the first thing we do is every other day we'll be buying something. Do we actually need it? Reduce, buy less, choose durable items, avoid single use. We have come to a culture where, we buy something, a clothes, and we try to throw it off in 2 years or 6 months. Why can't we buy whatever we are buying of good quality that will last? Reuse. Use what you already have. Repair, donate, refill. Today your suitcase gets spoiled, you don't want to repair. Your shoes, recycle. Only what you can't refuse, reduce or reuse. Segregate it properly. Ensure it goes to the right places. Compost waste and return nutrients to the soil. And can you believe India is one of the largest producers of plastics which are dumped into the Indian Ocean? Today, Indore is considered one of the cleanest cities in India. 100% source segregation, GPS monitoring, worker accountability, citizen campaigns. Impact, considered cleanest city since 7 years. Earth is one of a kind of a planet. There is no other planet that we know with a stable, self-regulating life support system. Its climate, its water, its atmosphere and biodiversity make it possible. Humans thrive in this earth. It's the only one that we know. However, the global waste emergency that we have, it's generating 2.3 billion tons of waste annually, and we are projected to reach 3.8 billion tons by 2050. The systematic impact on the air, on water, on soil, air through greenhouse gases and fine particle matter. Fine particle matter is the soot that comes out of our industries, microplastics and untreated sewage water going into our water channels, whether it is rivers, ponds, tanks, oceans. Extra nitrogen coming out through fertilizers into our soils, or the microplastics that are entering into our soils. This is disrupting the Earth's natural system, like carbon cycling and species migration. I have a question to the participants. What is your opinion about zero waste? What do you think is zero waste? So zero waste is a lifestyle, a philosophy, and a design principle that aims to prevent waste from being created in the first place. Each of us, are we giving out 1 kilogram of waste in a day into the municipal box outside our homes, or 500 grams? How much less garbage is getting created from our homes? Prevent waste from being created in the first place, not just manage it after it's made. Zero waste means designing and managing products and processes to systematically avoid and eliminate waste and conserve resources. Right now, what we're doing is burning or burying them in landfills. It's about rethinking our relationship with resources so that everything has a purpose and nothing ends up in a landfill or an incinerator. It's not about being perfect. A lot of people think, I can't do all this, so let go. No, take one step at a time. Zero waste doesn't mean producing literally no waste. It means progressively reducing your waste footprint, making conscious choices and redesigning systems for sustainability. It's a journey of responsibility, not a destination for perfection. There's a difference between waste management and zero waste. The 5 R's: refuse, say no to things we don't need. Today with Instagram, the first thing we do is every other day we'll be buying something. Do we actually need it? Do I love it? Is it useful for me? Is it functional to me? Will I keep it for a longer time? Will I use it until its life cycle is over? One habit that we Hyderabadis are creating is, let's buy the latest phone, let's buy the latest iPad, let's buy the latest gadget, and then we dispose the old one. Why? Why can't we use what we have until its life cycle is over? Reduce, buy less, choose durable items, avoid single use. We have come to a culture where, we buy something, a clothes, and we try to throw it off in 2 years or 6 months. Why can't we buy whatever we are buying of good quality that will last. That was the culture a few decades ago in India. And today, we just want to buy, throw, buy, throw. We bought furniture, it lasted a generation and went to the grandkids. Today, it's about, okay, we're buying this sofa, it works for 2 years, and then we can throw it out. Reuse. Use what you already have. Repair, donate, refill. Today, your suitcase gets spoiled, you don't want to repair. Your shoes get spoiled, you don't want to repair. You have stuff lying in your walk ins, you don't want to donate it. You have puja mandir, you're removing your God's pictures, you're dumping it somewhere. Recycle. Only what you can't refuse, reduce, or reuse. Segregate it properly, ensure it goes to the right places. Compost waste and return nutrients to the soil. Even if a single plastic is left in your garbage bag along with the wet waste, we are cause for microplastics that are landing up in soils. Now, what is zero waste? What is the difference between waste management and zero waste? What is the difference between waste management and zero waste? Can someone raise a hand?
Good morning, very good morning to everyone. I'm Mayur Shah. So, waste management is like how you manage the entire waste management cycle. That's what we say a circular economy, 360-degree, from collecting the waste from one location. There is a transport, then it goes back to the dumping zone, then it gets recycled over there, and it gets utilized. Zero waste, as ma'am explained, it's like, the redesign, reuse it, reduction, and it should be an environment friendly. So that's exactly. There is a utilization of technology in waste management. It keeps on adding things. You get the exact idea of the what exactly the weight you have in the bin, in the sensors. So it is an endless thing. I can keep on going on this topic. I can give a lot of differences because it will definitely it will go for an hour. But yeah, that's what I can say. It's a very lengthy discussion. I can get into it.
Got it. I got it. I'll give
Yeah,
the next person an opportunity.
sure. Thank you.
Preeti, can you come on?
Yeah. So for me, the difference between waste management and zero waste was the mind shift there. So earlier I would buy something and later I would think, how should I dispose it? How should I discard it? But now, before buying something, I consciously think, where will it end? Like, I avoid this waste? This small change helped me choose better things like reusable items, less packaging with eco-friendly items. It's about being responsible for what we bring into our lives and how it affects the planet. So instead of buying something and thinking later, in the first place, I'm thinking and how it will end in the world. Yeah, that's the mindset shift for me.
And what do you think about landfills or reuse?
From landfills are nothing but the irresponsible waste. Will think, oh, okay, oh, it's just one packet, it's just one item, I'm throwing it away. But if everyone is thinking in the same way, there are mountains of landfills which are there in Hyderabad, in every city. So it's not just one item we are discarding, it's about everyone thinking in the same way is the problem of landfills, I think. So there should be some responsibility, like we are depending for like schools, education, hi-fi things, we will choose private things. But for coming to waste, the discarding of waste, we will blame the government. So instead of taking responsibility, choosing government to take our responsibility, we should be responsible of our waste, I feel.
Okay, thank you. Now, coming to the next slide, global waste and pollution hotspots. So, if you see, there is air, there is soils, there is water, there's plastics that we are creating, there is municipal solids, industrial mining, textile and fashion waste, e waste, construction waste, biomedical waste, healthcare, radioactive waste. At Wishwa Talks, we have covered e waste, we've covered textile and fashion waste, and we've covered municipal solid waste. We've also covered other wastes. There are some which we haven't yet covered, like industrial and construction and biomedical too, and radioactive. So, coming to air, global air pollution is a major environmental threat, causing over 7 million premature deaths and affecting climate, health, and ecosystems widely. Climate crisis is escalating. It's an emergency. Waste, especially organic and plastic, contributes significantly to greenhouse gas emissions like methane and carbon dioxide, accelerating global warming. See, we're getting waste out of industry, we're letting it into the air. We're filling landfills from which methane is coming out. That's also going into the air. When we leave plastics thrown out on the roadsides, they become into small plastics, go into the sky as microplastics and enter our breathing systems. It enters the clouds and then again comes back in the form of rains and into the water, into the groundwater, and we are breathing it and we are drinking it. 52 million tons of plastic is entering our environment each year from 5 resources. One is littering, 3% is going from there. Uncollected waste, 68%. 2% is collected, 2% is recycled, 25% is dumped into landfills. Now, over 100 million tons of plastics are produced every year for the use in a wide variety of applications. At least 14 million tons of plastics ends up in the ocean every year. And plastics make up 80% of all marine debris found from surface waters to deep sea sediments. Marine species ingest or are unentangled by plastic debris, which causes severe injuries and death. Plastic pollution threatens food safety and quality, human health, coastal tourism, and contributes to climate change. There is an urgent need for the Global Plastics Treaty that directly addresses plastic pollution's impact on biodiversity. Today, in the Indian Ocean, if you see the most populated areas in the country are in red, in different shades of red. And all of us go to any village, the plastics are dumped in the canals, in the rivers, they're just thrown. And can you believe India is one of the largest producers of plastics which are dumped into the Indian Ocean? China, Indonesia, India, these are the countries which are dumping maximum into the Indian Ocean. India's plastic waste is 9.3 million tons. Plastics. When you throw plastics, what happens? Ocean, all these plastics gets accumulated each year. And it's estimated 50 million metric tons of this plastic waste is entering marine environments. The waste originates primarily from land-based resources, including urban runoffs, mismanaged waste, stormwater discharges, and rivers. Once the ocean plastics are transported by currents and winds, accumulating in specific circulation zones as gyres. Okay. There are around 5 gyres in the oceans. These are the currents that are moving in circles in the oceans. And all the waste that we throw goes in circles. These gyres act as convergence zones. These are rotating currents. These 5 major ones globally accumulate plastic, floating plastic. Over time, this debris breaks down into microplastics through UV exposure and wave action, but it does not biodegrade. These particles are now found throughout the water column, from the surface to the deep sea. So when water goes, it's if you take a section of water, it's just all that after the gyre comes, it gets accumulated and then it goes right to the bottom of this ocean. So, and these have been detected in microorganisms at a trophic level. In the Indian Ocean specifically, plastic ocean is widely distributed through though less concentrated in distinct garbage patches as in the North Pacific, according to research published in Ocean Science 2022. The Indian Ocean receives an estimated 3 to 4 million tons of plastics annually. Most of it originates from rapidly urbanizing countries with inadequate waste infrastructure. Unlike in other oceans, much of this plastic is dispersed across vast areas due to monsoonal currents, seasonal upwellings, making it harder to detect and clean. Floating plastics interfere with marine life in numerous ways, ingested by fish, seabirds, turtles, whales, often causing starvation or internal injuries. They act as vectors for invasive species and chemical contaminants. This disrupts the base level food web dynamics and potentially affects commercial fisheries and global nutrition in a big way. The International Union of Conservation of Nature warns that the marine plastic pollution is now altering ecosystems' function, reducing biodiversity, and weakening oceanic carbon sequestration processes. These changes comprise the ocean's role as a climate stabilizer and provider of food and the livelihood for billions of people. Now, this is a Excel sheet I'm providing. It will be in the chat box where we are getting this information. The statistics are provided. You can take them. In these two slides, we've covered the 5 pollution areas in our country. Yes. High exposure levels. India's average fine particle matter level is 50.6, 10 times the WHO limit, leading to 1.5 million premature deaths annually and reducing life expectancy by over 5 years. Health and climate impact through fine particle matter causes respiratory, cardiovascular, and cognitive issues, contributing to atmospheric brown clouds, solar dimming, and glacial melt. The National Clean Air Program targets a 40% reduction in fine particle matter in 131 cities by 2026, supported by a new 9,300 crore Clean Air Fund launched in 2024. Greenhouse gases. India emits 2.6 gigatons of carbon dioxide equivalent in 2019, with 75% from the energy sector. Key greenhouse gases include carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide. These emissions contribute to heat waves, shifting these part patterns, reduced crop yields, extreme rainfall, and ocean acidification. India's nationally determined contributions target 50% non-fossil electricity by 2030 and net zero emissions by 2070, supported by the Perform, Achieve, Trade single-use plastics. India banned 19 types of single-use plastics in July 2022, yet enforcement is weak. Although the Plastic Waste Management 2019 amendment rules, which are amended in 2020, effective from July 1, 2022, prohibits the manufacture, import, stocking, distribution, sale, and use of identified single-use plastic items. There is poor enforcement, and that's a major challenge. What do we need to do? Awareness. When citizens get together and we go to the chief secretary of the chief minister and said, why, or the environmental secretary, why is this not being implemented? How many raids have you done? Have you gone to the plastic association, manufacturing association? Have you verified how many industries around or factories around our location are still manufacturing? Is there any citizen group which is putting this pressure? I remember I'd gone to Pragati Nagar in Hyderabad on the outskirts. As long as it was a municipality, a village sarpanch used to go all around and ensure no plastics are sold in any school, any shops. The minute it has gone into municipality, plastics have come back. Instead of progressing, we are degressing. Untreated sewage and urban water. India generates over 72 million liters of sewage daily, but only 28% is treated, allowing 52,000 million liters of raw sewage to pollute rivers, lakes, and groundwater every day. The contamination spreads waterborne diseases like cholera and diarrhea, promotes antimicrobial resistance, and causes ecological damage. The Swachh Bharat Mission Urban 2.0, with 1.4 lakh crore budget, targets 100% sewage treatment and reuse, supported by the fecal sludge and septage management policy for non-sewered systems. Landfills. 45% of municipal solid waste in low and middle income countries is biodegradable. Landfills consume vast land meant for farming, housing, or nature. Growing cities force landfill expansion to eco-sensitive or poor areas, causing injustice. Today, we just dump. It's very easy for us when we throw garbage out of our homes to not segregate and put wet waste along with plastics. Where does it go? It goes to your treatment plants. But do we have treatment plants which actually can segregate it? What kind of treatment plants that we have that can segregate? All they do is sieve it. So anything below a particular gets down into is considered as wet waste, and they again sell it as manure. But how much of it has microplastics? Waste is unsegregated, organic, plastic e-waste, medical, hazardous material mixed. Organic waste decomposes without oxygen, emitting methane, plus accelerates climate change. Plastics, microplastics, leach toxins like phthalates and bisphenols into soil and groundwater. Leachate from landfills contains heavy metals and pathogens polluting water and biodiversity. We might think, oh, it's over. We've thrown the garbage out of our house, we're done. But do we know that the dump which the municipality is using, that is going through the ground into the soils around and back to us through water and our own soil? It may be 10 kilometers away, but it's coming back to us. Methane, hydrogen sulfide are causing respiratory issues. Fires release toxic smokes and particles. Unstable mounds may collapse, causing landslides. Landfills reflect a linear system. We need a circular model. Reducing landfill waste is key to a cleaner, safer, and more resilient future. The excess reactive nitrogen that is coming out, primarily through the overuse of synthetic fertilizers and nitrogen oxides, emitted from agriculture and vehicles. India's agriculture soil emits 70% of the country's nitrogen oxides emissions, largely driven by excess use of urea, whose consumption has quadrupled since 1990. We've bought in the Green Revolution. An entire generation of farmers have forgotten what natural farming is. The only thing the present generation knows is, okay, let's do tus. The minute there is an insect, let's kill it. Is it beneficial to the farm? Is it not beneficial to the farm? They have no clue. Soil, okay. Is the soil rich in carbon, deficient in nitrogen? Does it need a potassium? No clue. Just buy, you're doing a 1 acre of paddy, just buy fertilizer, dump it into it. No soil test done, nothing. This consumption has quadrupled since 1990. The nitrogen overloads lead to soil acidification, killing beneficial microorganisms and affecting crop health. It's also causing biodiversity loss, depleting native plant species and pollinators, and contributing to the formation of coastal marine dead zones. On a planetary level, nitrogen oxides released from excess nitrogen is a greenhouse gas 300 times more potent than carbon dioxide over a 100-year period, making nitrogen mismanagement a major contributor to climate change. Are we aware that we are in a generation that is, if you don't correct, the entire coming generations are going to have the topsoil filled with microplastics? Are we willing to be aware of it, share this information with our friends, families, and our circle of influence, such that they understand the gravity of the situation, the urgency that this generation, if we do not protect our soil, the topsoil from microplastics or from what we're doing, the next generation, as it is, we are hearing incidents where they're saying 30% of the person's brain is with microplastics. Are we willing to let our children and their children have microplastics in their bodies? Or are we going to get the gravity of the situation of soil? Can anyone guess where this construction waste is? Please put it in the chat box. Which location? Not just the city, which location? Yes, it's near In-Orbit Mall. It's opposite, on the same road of the In-Orbit Mall. And we have become so thick-skinned that it doesn't matter to us. We just cross it, we don't question it. It doesn't even matter anymore. Data transparency. Why does it matter? Transparent data helps track waste generation, segregation, recycling rates, and policy impact in real time. Today, does anybody know what is the actual figure of waste that is being created in their towns or cities? And where is the source of that figure? Can someone put it on the chat box? In their city, in their town, what is the figure coming? Where is this figure coming? Not at a pan-India level. In their city or in their town. Anybody else knows in the other cities? I want the sources, not just declare how many tons. Where are you getting the source of this information? If you know, say yes, we know. If you don't know, say no, there is no such record declaring in the municipal commissioners or the municipalities. Do they declare on any platform? Is there any source of information other than newspapers? Does the municipality declare what is the waste that is being coming out? Can you understand the gravity of the situation? If you don't know where the problem is, how will you address it? If we are willing to say, hide the truth under the carpet, how will you even address it? How do you even build accountability? Newspapers are not a source. They have to come out of the municipalities. They have to come out of the village sarpanches. Public access to waste data holds municipalities, businesses, and citizens accountable for their roles in waste creation and management. It's extremely important that the waste that is getting collected should be published, and this has to become mandatory. This will enable accurate data, will empower policymakers, startups, communities to develop targeted zero waste solutions. Today, Hyderabad must be generating waste of 15,000 to 18,000 tons of waste. What is publicly spoken is around 8,000 to 9,000. Why? Why do you think there is a need to not give transparency? Our municipalities are rich. However, the money does not go to the funding of the incinerators. Today, we need 1300 degrees of burning for these incinerators. In India, perhaps we have up to 8 or 900 degrees. When that happens, it is inevitable that the soils will end up with microplastics. If private parties cannot afford to put that kind, why can't the government? We have what? How many cities and how many towns, at least in the major towns, why cannot the government, if it is willing to invest in irrigation projects, if it's willing to invest in roads, why can't they invest in incinerators of that degree? If that is from the government's point of view, from the individual's point of view, why should the wastage be 18,000 tons? Why can't we cut down our waste? Why can't we segregate it at our point, at our levels, so that the waste generated, which is going to the municipality, comes down by 50%? Zero waste matters now. Our futures are at risk. Global waste is to rise by 70% by 2050. Landfills, ocean plastics, toxic air threatens climate, health, and food security. Plastics are found in our blood, lungs, placenta, breast milk. Zero waste is our only hope. Cutting pollution at the source. I want to discuss about which locations is it being practiced. Today, Indore is considered one of the cleanest cities in India. 100% source segregation, GPS monitoring, worker accountability, citizen campaigns. Impact, considered cleanest city since 7 years. Landfill use has reduced. Ambikapur, women-led SHGs collect and segregate waste in 48 wards. Open dumping banned. Waste recycled or composted. Seoul, pay-as-you-throw system. Waste charged by weight, volume, massive public awareness, and food waste reduction policies. Food waste has been cut down by 30%. Recycle rate over 60%. San Francisco legislation and public engagement. Mandatory three-way segregation, recycle, compost, landfill. Bans on plastic bags and styrofoam, reuse incentives. Impact 80% diversions, thousands of green jobs created. Japan, minimalism and 45 waste categories, no garbage trucks. Citizens drop off sorted waste, emphasize on reuse, repair, and reduction. 80% of waste has been reused and recycled. What's common across all these places? Segregation at source, community involvement, smart policies, innovation, and persistence. If they can do it, so can we. What a zero waste system looks like. As already told, source segregation, circular economy principles, composting and organic waste management, local decentralized solutions. There is no way, even if you privatize it, and if you have one dump yard, they will say we are sending 10 trucks to the dump yard. But what will go is only one truck. There is an immediate necessity to decentralize waste solutions. Every 3 square kilometers should separate its wet waste and its recyclable waste. Every 3 square kilometers, there is a need for composting to happen there itself, and it can be distributed. The government can collect this and give it to the farmers instead of giving artificial fertilizers, and then the recyclable waste can be moved to the respective hubs. The current system of having one dump yard is not practical. The current system of having one vendor to handle a city doesn't work. There are enough entrepreneurs ready to keep their localities zero waste. There is a need for tendering to happen every 3 square kilometers by the government. At Wishwa, what we are doing is we're conducting workshops to create awareness. We're spending on creating awareness through social channels. We are helping people to conduct waste audits, but this can be done only with public participation. There are around 40,000 communities in Hyderabad. We are doing with a few where the local person, the person living in that premise, is ready to take responsibility. And we at Wishwa are ready to show the way, the pathway on how to ensure your organization, your offices, your in apartment building, your colony to be zero waste. But for that, we need people who are ready to partner with Wishwa to make it happen. We need to do 40,000 communities simultaneously. If not, what can be completed in 2 years will take another 30 years. The damage for the coming generations is irreversible. Once the topsoil is contaminated, it's irreversible. Zero waste is too hard. Start small, segregate at home, carry a cloth bag, say no to disposables. Everything you notice around you in your personal space, in your homes, take one step at a time. Recycling is enough. Truth, recycling cannot handle our overconsumption. Most plastic gets downcycled or landfilled. Reduce and reuse are more powerful than recycle. One person cannot make a difference. Truth. Every movement began with one person. Indoor became clean because people joined in. Your habits inspire others. Change is contagious. Your effort multiplies. Waste begins with you. Do not think that I cannot overnight become zero waste. Don't work towards perfection. Work with one step at a time. Join together in your forums to bring in data transparency. Join together to support, invest in startups and social enterprises supporting environmental issues. Co-create with your community, with your NGOs around, with your informal workers, institutions, industry. Share ownership. We are at that cusp. Our generation has to reverse this. With this, I close my talk. Thank you so much for being